Hello, podcast number 2. This is Mr. Cox's Dad Stories. Again, don't forget to catch me on YouTube's Mr. Cox's Supercharged and Intercooled Science and Animal videos. I'm talking about some life experiences here. Some things that you may have wanted to heard from your dad or enjoy hearing from your dad, your uncle, your grandpa, your mom, whoever. But I want to talk a little bit about some boating stories. Of course, my friend that I mentioned in the first podcast that's afraid of most living things will have to be in some of these. But we've had a lot of boating stories. I've done lots. I've grown up around lakes, rivers, and I'm an aquatic biologist. Spent a lot of time on the lakes and rivers. I could call it boating with Mr. Cox. Um, there's kind of like I'm not like really big into the word karma. There's also it can be called what you sow is what you reap, or some people call it karma. But a lot of times I get with the karma thing. But this is I have to bring this up, and maybe I'll do some others on boating experiences. Call this one bad karma or something. But for example, there's a low country church that we used to go to, and my sister was dating this other guy that was one of my friends that my sister was dating for a long time. So there's this guy that used to come to the church, and he'd been, again, this is not knocking anybody, but he was a little off mentally because he had drank so much all his life, and then he'd quit drinking later in life and started going to church. But he would just, the way he would say things and stuff was a little different. So anyway, he was in his car, and I'm trying to remember what he had. I think he had a Vega, one of those little Chevys from the 70s, that little tiny compact or subcompact car, with a little four-cylinder on it. By the way, I knew a guy in town that put a V8 in one of those, that big V8, and had it hopped up, and it would take off, and the front wheels would raise up, and it'd pop up and down. It was kind of cool. But this older guy he came to church. He come out of the church, and those things that are made out of concrete. Some people call them pylons. I don't know if that's the correct term, because I think of a pylon. That's that thing like they put out for road work. It's like a cone, but some people call these pylons. These concrete things that are kind of shaped like this. If you look at it from this side, and they're long, and you put your tires up against them so you don't go too far. He put the car in forward instead of reverse. Must have gunned it. Popped his little Vega up over the top of this pylon, got it stuck. He's doing everything, rocked the car, can't get it off. And my sister's boyfriend, he's also my friend, he's sitting over this other car. He had a Ford Maverick, another little car about the same size. And he's like, what an idiot. Well, who would do that? Who would do that? And guess what he did? He put the car, he was thinking he was backing up. He was laughing so hard, he put the car in forward, gunned it, boom, pop up. He's stuck on the pylon, doing the same thing as this other guy. So that's what I talk about, sowing and reaping, or karma, whatever you want to call it. But then he was upset, but he just laughed and laughed and laughed, So I forget how I finally got loose. I think somebody had to shove him off there or something. So I'm going to talk about boating and karma. So my friend one time is afraid of everything pretty much except dogs and cats. He was boating with some friends, and with another friend we have, and then he's got two sisters, and he went out in a boat, and my friend's always afraid. When he gets in the water to ski or to tube or to swim from the boat, he puts his feet in the water, and he goes on forever about, oh, it's too cold, or that kind of thing, or it's afraid something's going to touch him, So my friend had enough of it, and he didn't know it was my other friend's boat. He didn't know, his friend that's dangling his feet over the water, that this guy's swim trunks were caught on a cleat. Neither one of them know. Because he's hanging over the edge of the boat and can't make up his mind if he was going to get in or not, because the water's too cold for him. So it's summer, but it takes a while for the water to get warm. It's these cleats, this little thing that's kind of shaped like this, or maybe kind of like that. And your boat, you have your boat ropes you wrap around it to tie the boat off to things, or to hang bumpers over the side of the boats, or you can hang an anchor over the side of it and tie it to these off first real well. And so his swim trunks are caught on it. And my friend's like, get in. He gives him this big push. It just ripped the swim trunks right off of this other friend. If these girls are there and everything. And he goes up with his big bare, like hind end, sticking out of the water, and they're mocking his existence. I don't know. They probably had to give him a towel or something to get out of the water, and then maybe he can get back in his clothes. But we all thought that was funny. So I'm working with, we always tease him about it, and so I'm working with the Department of Natural Resources. No, I'm not. I'm working with a company, a private company. Then I had worked with the Department of Natural Resources. I'm working for a private company doing aquatic biology work. We're out there, and sometimes we would get in the water to sample, or we get out to push the boat off, because sometimes we take the boat in to check out, the fish and the aquatic organisms that we captured. We try not to kill them. We weigh and measure them. And of course, I was always the one saving endangered species, or endangered species, like what they call the spoonbill catfish. This was not catfish at all, but it's the paddlefish. And if these aren't swimming all the time, they're kind of like people always said of sharks. But then they found out sharks sometimes go and sit on caves in the bottom and can kind of go dormant, and they're fine. But generally, they're swimming all the time. Well, the paddlefish isn't swimming all the time. It can't get oxygen from the water moving over its gills, and it could literally suffocate. So we would have them out. We tried to get them in water right away, but they would just kind of pass out and go into, if they left them very long, it'd probably be pulmonary and cardiac arrest. And so I would take them out and I'd get them in the riffle where the water's flowing, but where it's not too deep and too swift for me to stand up. And I would take the paddlefish and hold their mouth open and take them back and forth in the riffle until they would get enough oxygen, they would revive, and they'd start flipping, then let them loose. Sometimes they'd sink a little bit, and I'd pick them back up and do it again until they would swim off or fine. So one day we were there. I was trying to get out of the boat, and I started sliding over the edge of the boat, and guess what happened to me? My swim trunks, and they might have been cut off jeans at the time. Sometimes I wore them because you have your pockets and everything. Got caught on the cleat, just like my friends that I had laughed, made fun of his existence about. So it didn't rip my pants off, thankfully. At least it was just guys there, but it would have been embarrassing. They didn't know I was caught, and they're like looking at me like, what's wrong with him? I'm hanging over the side of the boat, and it hurts. All my weight's pulling against his pants, and it's giving me like a super atomic wedgie of the worst type. All I can do, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm trying to look all professional for them, and they're just like looking at me like, what's he doing? I'm hanging there. I got so cracked up, just laughed to myself for a long time. It seemed like hours, even after I got the water to this. That's hilarious. I made fun of my friend, got the same thing back. So beware of that. What you think is funny and mock someone else for may come to you. Whatever the cause of that is, I don't know. But it seems to happen sometimes. So other boating stories. I have tons of these, so I'll just do a few today. We were with my other friend. He always had really nice speedboats. He kept them just perfect, immaculate, and took care of them a lot better than I did with mine that I had later. And I'm always more for I like really nice looking things, but I'm more like the utility of them and more into protecting and saving animals and all that kind of stuff. And I'm worried about all that kind of thing. If something gets stuck in a boat that needs to go back in the river, I'm all freaked out about that. So he's all freaked out about his boat. So one time I was with him. He didn't like anybody getting close to his boat. We were out there, and we were in this lake in Ohio, and this guy starts windsurfing towards us. There's these things, they look kind of like a surfboard, but they've got one sail on them, and you can swing it back and forth and catch the wind, and you got to keep your balance. And this guy, and he's getting closer and closer. I cannot believe how close he's getting to my friend's boat, and he's just on edge. I knew he was about ready to die. If you know what a gaff hook is, the thing that on ships and boats a lot of times, sometimes they'll use them if it's a fishing boat to pick up a fish by its gills. I don't like that because I don't like things to suffer and die. But they use it for a lot of things. Like if you drop a rope in the water, you need to pull out, or a buoy or something. You take this gaff up, pull out. Some gaff hooks are sharp, and there's even movies and stuff where people hacked each other, hooked them, to try to hurt or kill each other with these sharp gaff hooks. So highly don't refer to like if that guy gets any closer. My other friend is going to gaff him. We both started dying laughing hysterically. You may or not may find this funny, but this guy was so intense, and this guy just gets closer and closer. And he's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And we're all like waiting because if he loses balance or the wind dies down, he's gonna go poof, and his sail's gonna go across my friend's boat. There would have been some swift cussing, maybe violence. I don't know. But then his sisters are like, "What is?" We told them, and they laughed too. Of course, the friend in the boat didn't really find the whole thing humorous. So another time I was in the water, and he was always, again, he's one of my best friends, so I'm not saying, but he was always uptight about that and protecting his stuff. And it was good, you know. He had a lot of stuff that I didn't because he saved his money and took care of everything. So he had nice things. A lot of times I didn't have such nice things because I wasn't that particular. So we get in. I've been in my boats and water all my time. I'm just kind of lackadaisical. I'm like, you know. I launch my boat. They're there waiting for us. I go, water. Boats, excuse me. I'm not sick, technically. I have asthma pretty bad. And I had a cold like weeks ago, been on antibiotics and everything, but it just takes a long time for the asthma to stop working out. Like I said, my voice is dry from teaching all day. So we, anyway, you can't just stop a boat. There's not like brakes you put on. So it's up on plane, and I'm coming in real fast towards him, and I'm gonna set my boat down beside his so we can like talk. You can slide it around the water if you're good with the boats and do this business. It'll slow the boat down like a brake because the water pressure against the friction will sit down. So I did that. I tell you, to this day, it makes me nervous thinking about how close I came to bumping his boat. I could have bumped it hard. I mean, our boats were probably like that when I stopped, and it was a really good landing. It's not a landing, but I don't know what else you call it. A really good settle down a boat. But I looked at my friends, and they're all like, so this guy never says anything to me. He's always nice to me. But my other friend told me that I get a swift cussing under the guy's breath. So tubing. We bought a really cheap tube one time before I had a nice tube. Didn't have a floor or bottom in it. It's just a tube, and they sell them, but they don't work good. They're more like just for inner tubes for people to float around. I had a place to hook up. I pulled this one friend that's afraid of everything, and he pulled in. I took off in my boat. It's not like a real super fast boat, but it had enough power to get going, pull somebody up really nice to ski. Call it getting on a plane. It's like, and it picks up, pulls him up on plane, and he's like, and we pull in a little bit. And pretty soon I seemed like, first I think he's saying speed up, and we speed up. No. So we stopped. His is like, because it had no bottom in it, and he was trying to sit on his hind end and went down through it. It folded up. He said he got the worst full lake water enema he'd ever had. He said he always exaggerates things, so I don't know how bad it was. It's like he felt like it blew everything in the lake up him from enema. So another time he was really afraid of fish. I've seen some pretty big striped bass where we're at, up close to the dam. This one place where it's really deep, and I was in there one time, and I'm pretty cool with stuff like that, but I saw something really big, so I'm out there swimming. I don't panic. I just get back in the boat just in case. So, you know, we're telling him, like, hey, what's his name? I saw something really big over there. You can't see anybody. Like, he's like, first of all, because it's for skiing or tubing. I can't, which mirror, it's probably tubing. He's like, go. And like, what do you, he's wanting me to hit the throttle on the boat. He's like, what? So I just purposely, I'm like, what are you trying to say? You know, he's like freaking out, go. Because he's afraid this thing's going to touch him. So I pulled up on him. And then when we get in skiing, I pull him back in the water. He's like, I gotta get in, you know, he's freaked out. So I'll catch you with some other boating stories, some other funny stories, some other informative stories. Mr. Cox, catch my science videos. Mr. Cox is science supercharged and intercooled science and animal videos, and Mr. Cox's Dad podcast.